The girl who hates me heard me joke, "Stay with me tonight," and said, "Yes, too fast." The first time Emma ever said yes to me, I thought she was joking. For 2 years, I was convinced she hated me. She ignored me at work. She rolled her eyes whenever I spoke. If we were assigned to the same task, she'd finish it without saying more than 3 words. My friends loved making fun of me. "Jason, that girl would rather quit her job than spend 5 minutes with you." Honestly, I believed them. I worked at a small bookstore in a quiet town. It was peaceful, cozy, and filled with the smell of old books and fresh coffee. Emma had worked there long before I arrived. She was smart, organized, and serious about everything. I was the opposite. I forgot where books belonged. I talked too much, and I made terrible jokes. One rainy evening, our boss told us someone had to stay overnight because the basement had flooded after a storm. I tried to avoid it. Emma looked at me and said, "Unless Jason suddenly remembers he actually works here." I sighed. "Fine, I'll stay." Neither of us looked happy. By night, the bookstore was empty. Rain hit the windows. Thunder echoed outside. The power went out. Emergency lights turned on, filling the bookstore with a soft orange glow. "Jason?" Emma called. "I'm alive. I wasn't asking because I care," I figured. After fixing the breaker, we sat down with 2 cups of terrible coffee. For the first time in 2 years, we actually talked. After a long silence, I finally asked, "Can I ask you something?" "What?" "Why do you hate me?" She stared at me for several seconds, then quietly said, "I don't hate you." "Really? Because you've spent 2 years acting like you do." She sighed. "You honestly don't remember?" "Remember what?" She looked out the window. 3 years ago, before you worked here, you came into this bookstore with your little sister." Slowly I remembered. "You asked me where the poetry section was." I nodded. "My father had died that week," she continued. "I still came to work because I couldn't stand staying home." My heart sank. She smiled sadly. "You told your sister that I looked like someone who had forgotten how to smile." I closed my eyes. I remembered saying those words. But I hadn't been talking about her. I was talking about someone else, I whispered. "I know that now. But back then, I thought you were judging me." "I'm so sorry. You didn't know what I was going through." For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then she laughed. "I spent so much time pretending to hate you that I forgot how to stop." We both laughed, not because it was funny, because it was so unbelievably human. As the storm grew stronger outside, the bookstore became colder. We wrapped ourselves in old blankets and kept talking. She told me she dreamed of becoming a children's author. I admitted I wanted to become a journalist, but had been rejected everywhere. She confessed she was scared of failing. I admitted I was scared of never becoming anything. The girl, who had barely spoken to me for 2 years, suddenly knew everything about me. Hours passed. Around 2 in the morning, I stretched and laughed. "If you think I'm that helpless," I pointed toward the old couch, "stay with me tonight." I was kidding. Completely kidding. But before I could even smile, she answered, "Okay." Too fast. Way too fast. I looked at her. She looked at me. Her face turned bright red. "I didn't mean to answer that so quickly." "So, you don't hate me?" She smiled. "I never hated you." "Then why?" "Because I was trying very hard not to like you." For a second, I couldn't breathe. Then I laughed. "You know what's funny?" "What?" "I've been trying not to like you too." She smiled. "We're both idiots. The biggest." When morning came, the storm was over. Sunlight filled the bookstore. Our boss walked in, looked at us, and smiled. Emma answered before I could. We finally talked. Life didn't magically become perfect after that. We became friends first. Then best friends. Months later, I got my dream job as a journalist. On my last day at the bookstore, Emma handed me a small notebook. Inside, she had written one sentence. "Don't ever forget how to smile." I looked at her and laughed. "So, you busy tonight?" She smiled. "Depends," I grinned. "So, you busy tonight?" Later she looked me straight in the eyes, and with the biggest smile I'd ever seen, she answered, "Okay." Sometimes, the people who seem disappointing at you aren't hiding hate. They're hiding fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of getting hurt. And sometimes, all it takes is one honest conversation to completely change two lives forever.